All right, episode 95 is upon us, which means we're getting close to good old episode 100, where we're going to finish off structure and we're going to start looking at vocabulary as well as some other glyphs, more determinatives, and other sort of additions to the language. All right, but as we jump into this lesson, because that's where we are and we should be doing this lesson, first we're going to look at homework. We haven't had homework in a few weeks, so we're back to that because practicing is what you need to do if you're going to doodle with purpose. All right, so hopefully you have written out last week's homework assignment at the end of episode 94's video, and then you work on transliterating and translating it. Remember the hint being that those two M's are two different words, they're not a double consonant. All right, so let's jump in. First off, we have the word nutuk, which you recall from last week, is the pronoun she is or she was. All right, well, what was she? Well, we have nefer repeated 3 times with 3 strokes. So the word beautiful becomes the most beautiful. Then we have with an extra M, HM for the water basket, M for the owl, so we cross off the second M, just a reminder consonant. Then we have an owl for M, which alone means in, as, from, or with. In this case, the logical word is going to be in. I mean, we could try with, but as you'll see from context, it doesn't work. And then a repetition of the sign for land, ta, twice makes it plural, so the lands. All right, so putting it all together and turning it more to English, we have she is, or she was, the most beautiful wife in all the lands, or lands, either way. So you can, add a little flourish there and, make it into a love note. Now you have a love note for Valentine's Day for your significant other. You could just change wife to husband if you need. All right, so returning to verb forms. So we're talking about the participle form, which is one who does. It's when the verb acts a bit like a noun. So that has both a present and a past participle form. The present form, everything doubles. In the past, no doubling, but you do get an extra R in extra weak verbs, like radi instead of D. All right, so as a quick review, the difference between a participle and a relative form of the verb. They're very similar in the sense that they change a verb into something else, like a noun or an adjective. So the participle is one who does something, hears, loves, sees. The relative form is what one does, what one sees, what one loves. So if we're dealing with the verb love, the participle of this would be one who loves, and the relative form of it would be what one loves. So again, the verb becomes an adjective or a noun, or at least functions as an adjective or a noun if you're in the participle or the relative tense. We do have this in English, but it's not used that much. It's used a lot in hieroglyphics. So participle, one who loves. Relative form, what one loves, an adjective, versus one who loves, a noun. So it's a verb acting as a noun or an adjective. Best way to think about it. It's a little confusing, but if you just sort of look at it like that, you're good to go. So, relative form, let's do it. Present relative form. So, what one does, what one is currently doing. So, like all verb forms, we have our 4 types of verbs. First off, we have our strong verb. And in this case, I'm using the F, the he, as the pronoun, just to make it easy to read. So here we have to hear, and we've added the T at the end, which could be the feminine T, but in this case it's the relative form T. For doubling, we double our consonant, add the T, and then the pronoun. And again, I'm just using the F, he for, just readability. It could be, any pronoun. It could be the folded cloth for she. Now we have weak, doubling again, doubling our consonant with a T at the end and our pronoun. And then extra weak, again, doubling our consonant, adding a T, and then going into your pronoun. What he hears, what he sees, what he loves, and what he does. Now we're looking at the present participle form. The clue is doubling. just like in the relative form. So, or just like in the participle. So the relative and the participle in their present form both double, but what makes the relative form different from the participle form is the T that gets added. So doubling in every tense except strong. All right, now let's dive into the past relative form, which would translate to what someone did. So in this case, we have strong verb to hear. We've added a T, and we've added the N, which is the hieroglyphic equivalent of ED. If you remember from the past tense, we added the water sign. Now for doubling verbs, just like in the participle, the relative form does not double. So now to make it the past, we've already added the T, but we add the N in there. And again, I'm using the F, he, as the pronoun, just as a token pronoun. It could be any pronoun. Now we have the same thing. Weak verbs, we are not doubling. We are just adding the T, which is the same as the participle, and then the N for ED, the past, just like the past tense. Same thing with extra weak, but the one extra addition for extra weak is just like with the participle, it gets an extra R, so a raw D for to do. So our clue to know you're in the past relative form is that T, similar to the participle, but also getting the N, which again is like the ED of a verb, that, like in English, like love versus loved, etc. So that is how you know if you're looking at a past relative form. Again, noting that the extra weak also gets the R before it. It's not in every word, but it's enough to take notice. If you see an extra R and you have the T and you have the N, you're in the past relative form. All right, homework for next week. So this will test a lot of the stuff we've been doing the past few weeks. Please forgive my very sloppy flax in the second sentence there, the third glyph. That's the H. I kind of did it sloppy, what can I say? But I think it's readable. All right, jump in. There's even a negative in there for you. So good luck. We'll review what this sentence says next week. See if you can translate it and transliterate it. And next week, we're also going to, if we've been talking about verbs, one thing is missing from all the verb tenses we've done, and that is the future. So yes, we're going to do the future tense next week. And that'll finish all of the tenses. If you like this series, like this video, please like it, continue to watch, share with your friends, ring the bell, subscribe, share with others. That's the biggest thing you can do. Helps tell YouTube to share with more people, and we love sharing knowledge on the internet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for lesson 96 next week. Have a great week. Good luck with the homework.